Hi folks, welcome. This is our fifth Fireside Chat for Lent 2022. We're continuing to work our way through Max Lucado's book, In the Grip of Grace. We're up to chapter 14. Max entitles that one, The Civil War of the Soul. In this chapter, he returns to Romans chapter 7 again to talk about what my Bible has entitled, The Struggle with Sin. Now, there's a couple of points in Romans chapter 7. Max picks up a few of them. The first one he talks about is Paul's point that God's law, the law of God, actually points out our sins. Great theological point. I'm going to let Max teach that one out of the book because he does a great job illustrating it from his own life. And when you read the story, you'll understand why his insurance company dropped him for being a horrible driver. I'm more interested in the second point of Romans chapter 7, where Paul talks about the reality of Christians and our struggle with temptation and our struggle with sin. This is the chapter in Romans where Paul writes things like, I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do. But what I hate, that I do. For I know that good itself does not dwell in me. I mean, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I can't carry it out. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do, well, that I keep on doing. This is the reality of life. That Christians, people like you and me, we're going to struggle with sin. We just plain are. And it is an opening that the devil makes hay with. He will be there with that little satanic voice going, oh yeah, you're a baptized child of God, all right. But your thoughts, your deeds, your desires, the things you say, the things you do, the things that you're tempted to say, the things that you're tempted to do, God may have called you once upon a time, but are you so sure about that promise now? I bet you he's grown weary of your sin, of your constant falling into temptation. We might even say things like, I am not worthy to be called God's child because of what I've done, because of what I've said, because of the harm I have done. Folks, here's what I want you to hear again in St. Paul's words. I do not understand what I do. Notice the pronouns, notice the tense of the verbs. They're first person pronouns. Paul's describing himself here, and he's describing the reality of his ongoing struggle. I do not understand what I do. It is going on in him right then. As he writes the book of Romans, Paul struggles with temptation. St. Paul met Jesus on the road to Damascus, has seen miracles, have dedicated himself to serving Jesus in the church. And he says, I really struggle with sin. It's the sad reality of us as the child of God. Let's remember and anchor our faith not to our behavior, but to Jesus and the cross. We look to what he accomplished there. On the cross, he paid the penalty for sins. Mine, yours, past sins, what we're currently struggling with, even what's going to come in the future. So our temptations, they're not a surprise to Jesus in any way. It's not as if he's going to say, oh, well, I didn't see that one coming. No longer are you my child. That's why I like Lutheran hymnody and the songs we sing in our church. I grew up singing, Lord, open now my heart to hear. And it contains the line, help me thy child and heir remain. We are God's children. I love it in the 10:30 service when we sing, I am a child of God. And the song's titled, Who You Say I Am. And the whole song is about who God declares us to be. We are his children. Folks, in the struggle with sin that Paul lays out in Romans chapter 7, Paul reminds us, and I want to take that same opportunity, God's on our side in that civil war. He's not sitting off to the sideline going, well, once you conquer this, then I'll love you. And he certainly isn't on the other side going, well, until you can do this, In the civil war of our soul, God himself fights on our side. He holds us in his grip of grace. Hey, blessings. Hey, next week, a quick service note. It's going to be Holy Week. Our fireside chat will be on Thursday instead of on Wednesday for Maundy Thursday. We'll meet in person for worship on Good Friday. And on Easter Sunday morning, we'll have our sunrise service at 7 a.m., Easter breakfast at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. is going to be egg hunt and those sorts of fun things. And then 10 o'clock will be our festival service. Blessings to you all.